Nanda Sri Advaita Gadha Shivasti Gaura Bhakta Vinda Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadha Shivasti Gaura Bhakta Vinda. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today is Friday. It is Madhav Masa or Madhav Masa Sukla Paksham and Dwadasi Tithi. And today Dwadasi Parayana time for Ekadasi fasting is between 7:41 and 7:43. Sorry, 10:43. Okay, so 3 hours of overlap time for Dwadasi Parayana. So apart from that, there are two more events. The first one is appearance of Shri Nityananda Prabhu, and another one is appearance of Shri Varahadeva. So fasting is done yesterday for all the three events: Ekadasi, Varaha Dwadasi, and Nityananda. All only one fasting, Ekadasi fasting. Yes, we should be few.
Amaka Prabhu, Hare Krishna, sorry to disturb you. Prabhu, today is Nityananda Trayadashi. We are not fasting till 12 o'clock?
We have fasted yesterday, Prabhuji. In the calendar, it is mentioned fasting done yesterday.
Okay, so today no fasting for Nityananda Trayadashi, no?
No, Prabhuji. Maybe I don't know how devotees can take it, but yeah, but this is what is in the calendar. Fasting done yesterday already.
Okay, Haribol Prabhu, Hare Krishna, thank you.
Maybe devotees who are who wanted to do fasting today also, they can take Ekadasi Prasadam. That is fine. Okay, so we shall read few lines from the event's perspective from Special Vaishnava Days. So the appearance day of Lord Varahadeva. Of the many topics in this world that we may hear or read today, this one from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 19, is guaranteed to be eternally beneficial. So, this one, there are two, in the two circumstances that Varahadeva Bhagavan appears, and then there is that continuation happens from the Srimad Bhagavatam perspective. Okay, so from this one, Shri Maitreya said, after hearing the words of Brahma, the creator, which were free from all sinful purposes and as sweet as nectar, the Lord heartily laughed and accepted his prayer with a glance laden with love. Okay, so this is between the fighting between the Hiranyaksha and also Varahadev Bhagwan. I'm just going to summarize this one. So Lord Varaha, whenever the Swayambhumanu in the beginning, Brahma created Swayambhumanu, all the Prajapatis. So at that time he asked Swayambhumanu to go and expand the progeny, but the earth was sunken. And then Lord Brahma was contemplating how to lift the earth. During that time, a small Varakatoko, little Varaha, small Varaha, it has come out from the nostril of Brahma, and then in due course of time, it has expanded gigantically in the sky, and then later on, while all the Brahma and all the Prajapatis and children of Brahma were glorifying that Varahadeva, and he jumped into the water, and then he lifted the earth. And then by touching by Sukura Pranta Sarale Upadatta Vitavanim. So by just touching with his feet, and he has injected his power and to so that it can float on the water in the Garbhodaka ocean. So during that time, again there are prayers of all the Brahma and everyone else, very beautiful prayers. And later on, when he was lifting this earth, Hiranyaksha also come there during that point. So here coming Hiranyaksha is the Maitreya Muni speaks another incarnation of Varahadeva. So just to merge all the amalgamating the two incarnations of Varahadeva. The first one is the Shwet Varaha, that is when Swayambhumanu appears, and then he was starting the first day of Brahma or beginning of the day of Brahma. But later on, at the end of the Chakshush Manvantara, at the beginning of the Vaivasata Manvantara. So where Hiranyaksha comes. Hiranyaksha, so during that time also, he was trying to push the earth into the Garbhodaka ocean. At that time, Lord has appeared again, Varahadeva, and lifted that. During that time, Hiranyaksha come and fight with the Lord, and Lord kills the Hiranyaksha. So today, in the special Vaishnava days, this is the fighting between Hiranyaksha and Varahadeva Bhagavan. But whoever hears this pastime of Hiranyaksha and Varahadeva, and they will be freed from all kinds of sinful activities, even Brahmavadadapi, uh, even the one has killed Brahmahatya, such kind of sin also will be freed from the when we hear this Varaha Bhagavan and fighting between Hiranyaksha and Varahadeva. Okay, so that is Varahadeva. So there are two incarnations. One is Shvetavaraha and another one is the Pita color. Okay, that is described. It is the third canto, chapter 13, appearance of Lord Varahadeva, and 14th chapter describes pregnancy of Diti in the evening, and 15th chapter describes description of kingdom of God, and chapter 16, the two doorkeepers of Vaikuntha, Jaya and Vijaya, cursed by the sages. And then chapter 17, victory of Hiranyaksha over all the directions of the universe. Chapter 18, the battle between Lord Bor and the demon Hiranyaksha. Chapter 19, the killing of the demon Hiranyaksha. Okay, so this is just chapters itself. It is so much of nectarian. Again, the source is going back to the again into the spiritual world in the Vaikuntha planet. Once upon a time, Jaya and Vijaya. So they're guarding the Vaikuntha palace at the seventh gate. So the four Kumaras entered. So again, a beautiful pastime is there. Okay, so that is about the Varahadeva. So Jaya and Vijaya. So one of those two two door gods. One becomes Hiranyakshipu, another one becomes Hiranyaksha. Okay, that is the incarnation of Varahadeva. That is appearance of Varahadeva today. And also another one is appearance of Nityananda, Lord Nityananda. So here it is mentioned feasting tomorrow. So that is fasting already done yesterday. So feasting tomorrow. But still devotees who wanted to fast today, they can take Ekadasi Prasadam or minute things like water, fruits and milk. And later on they can consume any grain prasadam. Okay, some excerpts from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila, chapter 5, the glories of Lord Nityananda Balarama. Text 4 to 12. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the fountainhead of all incarnations. Lord Balarama is his second body. These two are one and the same identity. They differ only in form. Lord Balarama is the first bodily expansion of Krishna, and he assists in Lord Krishna's transcendental pastimes. That original Lord Krishna appeared in Navadvipa as Lord Chaitanya, and Balaram appeared with him as Lord Nityananda. May Shri Nityananda Rama be the object of my constant remembrance. Sankarshana Seshanaga and the Vishnus who lie on the Karna ocean, Garbhodaka ocean, and ocean of milk, or his plenary portions and the portions of his plenary portions. I surrender unto the lotus feet of Shri Nityananda Rama, who is known as Sankarshana, in the midst of Chaturvyuha, consisting of Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. He possesses full opulences and resides in Vaikuntha Loka, far beyond the material creation. I offer my full obeisances unto the feet of Nityananda Rama, whose partial representation called Karanodaka Sai Vishnu, lying on the Karana ocean, is the original Purusha, the master of the illusory energy, and the shelter of all universes. I offer my full obeisances unto the feet of Shri Nityananda Rama, a partial part of whom is Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. From the navel of Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu sprouts the lotus that is the birthplace of Brahma, the engineer of the universe. The stem of that lotus is the resting place of the multitude of planets. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the feet of Sri Nityananda Rama, whose secondary part is the Vishnu lying in the ocean of milk. That Kshirodakasai Vishnu is super soul of all living entities and the maintainer of all universes. Sheshanaga is his further subpart. I have explained the seventh verse in four subsequent verses. By these verses, all the world can know the truth about Lord Nityananda. So it comes from the um, Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila, chapter 5. Okay, again, there is a beautiful past tense. There is much of information is there. I shall share it. There is one more. This is Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sangopangastra Pashitam Yajnihi Sankirtana Prahihi Yajantihi Sumedasaha. In this age of Kali, those who are intelligent perform the congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, worshipping Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appears in this age always describing the glories of Krishna. That incarnation is yellowish in hue and is always associated with his plenary expansions such as Sri Nityananda Prabhu and personal expansions such as Gadadhara as well as his devotees and associates such as Swarupa Damodara. Okay, there is so much of beautiful content. I shall again there is a Nitai Padakamala Koti Chandra Susitala. Okay, very beautiful kirtan is also uh, glorified by Shri Narottam Das Thakur. So I shall share this one in the WhatsApp group later on. Okay, that is from the events perspective. So we shall move into our daily Srimad Bhagavatam. ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Hare Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, so here Maitreya Muni is speaking to Vidra about Brahma, how he has divided the universe, the Padma Kosha into the 14 divisions. So Padma Kosham Tadavisha Bhagavad Karma Choditaha Ekam Vibhakshit Buruddha Trida Bhavyam Dvisaptada 14 divisions. And after saying that, because he has engaged himself in the penance and pure devotional service in a matured state, that's why it was possible for him to create such a uh, universe. So dividing the universe into 14 planetary systems and keeping the living entities according to their consciousness. एतावान् जीवलोकस्य संस्थभेदः समाहृतः धर्मस्य हि अनिमित्तस्य विपाकः परमेश्यसौ Vipakaha is completely matured in the devotional service. Vipakaha Parameshti Asau. Parameshti is Lord Brahma. Okay, so after saying that, when he said Maitreya Muni, now Vidura is inquiring further questions like he has heard enough. Now Vidura is asking it in a different dimension about he wanted to hear the time factor. Oh, Maitreya Rishi or Brahmana, you have described very nicely all about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, how Brahma has appeared from the novel, and how Brahma has created. Now, can you please describe that time factor, how it is going to act on the each and every planetary systems on top of the living entities? Can you please describe about the time factor? Likewise, Vidra is inquiring. Okay, we are in the Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, chapter 10, verse number 10. विदुरवुवाच यतात बहुरूपस्य हरेरद्भुतकर्मणः कालाख्यं लक्षणं ब्रह्मन् यथा वर्णय नः प्रभो. Vidura Vidura is saying, asking, Yatatta Bahurupasya, and Yatatta, as you have said, oh, yeah, as you have said, Yatatta Bahurupasya, having varieties of forms, Bahurupasya, Harehe Adbhuta Karmanaha, of the Lord Harehe, of the Lord Hari, Adbhuta Karmanaha, they are wonderful activities. The actor who performs wonderful activities. Adbhuta Karmanaha. Harehe Adbhuta Karmanaha. That is well done. Now, Kalakyam Lakshanam Brahman. Kalakyam. Kalakyam is the time, the story of the time. Akyam, it means describing about the object. And here the time is the object. Kala Akyam. Okay. Kalakyam Lakshanam Brahman. Lakshanam, all the symptoms of the time factor. Brahman or Brahmana. Yata Yata Varnayanaha Prabho. And as it is, Varnayanaha Prabho. Oh Lord, can you please describe all these things to me? Likewise, Vidra is asking. यथार्थ बहुरूपस्य हरेः अद्भुतकर्मणः कालाख्यं लक्षणं ब्रह्मन् यथा वर्णयनः प्रभो. Translation. Vidra inquired from Maitreya, O my lord, greatly learned sage, kindly describe the eternal time, which is another form of the Supreme Lord, the wonderful actor. What are the symptoms of that eternal time? Please describe them to us in detail. Okay, purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay. So can you request any volunteer devotees to read this purport, please? Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The complete universe is a manifestation of varieties of entities, beginning from the atoms up to the gigantic universe itself, and all is under the control of the Supreme Lord in his form of Kala or eternal time. The controlling time has different dimensions in relation to particular physical embodiments. There is a time for atomic dissolution and a time for the universal dissolution. There is a time for the annihilation of the body of the human being, and there is a time for the annihilation of the universal body. Also, growth, development, and resultant actions all depend on the time factor. Vidura wanted to know in detail the different physical manifestations and their times of annihilation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Prabhu Hare Krishna.
Jai. Thank you, Mataji. So here, the purport Srila Prabhupada is describing the complete universe is a manifestation of varieties of entities beginning from the atoms up to the gigantic universal itself. And all is under the control of the Supreme Lord in form of Kala or eternal time. So here, anything which takes birth, Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu dhruvam janma mritasya cha. Anything which takes birth and it has to die, and which has died, it will need to take a birth again. That is the nature. That happens in the due course of time. Time is the important factor. Krishna describes out of all powerful the calculations, the time is very important. So I am the time. And again he also mentions Kalosmi lokakshay kuru pravruddho लोकान् समाहर्तुमिह प्रवृत्तः ऋतेऽपि त्वां न भविष्यन्ति सर्वे ये अवस्थिताः प्रत्यनीकेषु योधाः. So I am the time factor. Kalosmi lokakshakrut pravruddho. In due course of time, everything will be kshaya krut pravruddho. Kshayakrut. Everything will be destroyed. And pravruddho, and also will be developed again. And here he says that I am that time. Kalosmi. I am the time. And also there are few other things like in the Brahma Samhita, it is described, Yasyek nispasita kal matavalambhya jivanti loma vilaja jagadandanaadaha Vishnur mahan saiha yasya kala vishesho govinda madi purusham tamaham bhajami. Yasyek nispasita kal matavalambhya. So in due course the time, in breathing, one breathing of time, so many universes have come and manifested and created, and then they will be annihilated in one breath of Mahavishnu. Yah karnanavajale bajrisma yoga nidra mananta jagadanda saromakopaha adhara shaktim avalambya param sumurtim govinda madi purusham tamaham bhajami. So that is Mahavishnu, and that Mahavishnu is one of the expansion of Krishna. He is expansion of 16th expansion, like expansion of expansion of expansion of expansion of expansion. Like that, it comes. That is Mahavishnu. That Mahavishnu is in one breathing time. So many universes are created and destroyed. That is the time. So the controlling time has different dimensions in relation to particular physical embodiments. And there is a time for atomic dissolution and a time for universal dissolution. Atomic dissolution and also the universal dissolution. And there is a time for the annihilation of the body of the human being, and there is time for annihilation of the universal body. So we see this is we see the human body annihilation of the human bodies. It will come and just even though its lifespan it can survive for 100 years, but due to its nature and different habits, it dies in very short duration of time nowadays. Some people maintain it a little bit longer, but at the end, the purpose of human body is to achieve the perfection of human life. But here, that time always works on the human bodies, but of course, in all the bodies. But in whenever that time uh, completes on that body, we must make sure that we have achieved the perfection, the purpose of the human life. That's why kalam yeto bhayam. It will make it is the impetus. It will give the force to carry out the activity. This again, Kalakya says the karma tantro, lokan apitan dadrushe swadehe. In due course of time, these living entities will given a chance, and then when they have got human body, they must complete it. Otherwise, they will may go to the down cats and dogs. Just eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. That is pasubihi samana. So that is other this time factor is the so anantantah karaha kalaha anadi adikrud avyayah janam janena janayan marayan mrutyunantakam. It is anadi adikrud avyayah. So when there are five different elements, if you speak about a living entity, the supreme personality of Godhead, prakriti, and the time, and then karma. These are the five elements described. Out of these five, the karma can be temporary for a living entity, but all remaining four are permanent. The Supreme Lord and Prakriti, they are the permanent. Living entity and the time, they are also permanent. But this karma is the temporary, which living entity carries out. This is karma tantra, which he can seize these karmic activities. But he can, what is karma means? Performing an activity for the sense gratification, that is called karma, and working for Krishna, that is a transcendental devotional service. That does not come under karma. Working for Krishna, that is eternal service or devotional service. And here also the growth, development, and resultant actions all depend on the time factor. Vidura wanted to know in detail the different physical manifestations and their times of annihilation. So these are the different manifestations like uh, bodies. I so wanted to know in detail different physical manifestations and their times of annihilation. So here, human planet or living entities, humans would live around 100 years, and but there are some living entities which will take birth in the early in the morning of human day, and they die at the end of the day. And this some kind of worms, they will be taking birth in a few hours of time, and few hours of time they will die. And Brahma also here, everything, ant, if you take an ant, its lifespan, its 100 years is different from human 100 years and Brahma's 100 years. But if you look at on top of it, everyone say that I live it for only 100 years. I live for only 100 years. But if we see the relativeness between the ants and humans, and if we just fix that human thing, things may be different. But if you go to the Brahma, Brahma also lives like a human beings like 100 years only. For him, that is 100 years. There is no difference. There is no need to go to different planets Because there also time is different that works on their bodies in the similar way, like time applies on the human bodies in the earthly planet. So here, Vidura wanted to know all these different physical manifestations and their times of annihilation. So there is again, it described like the day minutes. If not only the minutes, it is starting from the Paramanu calculations of the Paramanu, and two Paramanus are called one Anu, three Anus called one Trasarenu. Likewise, gradually, in order for Trasarenu means the small particles, they're floating in the air when we can see from the windows sunlight where small particles, they are called Trasarenus. And the sun to cross such kind of Trasarenu, it takes a time that is calculated. Okay, based on how that one is, we are going to see that one, those details later on in the chapter, calculations of the time. Okay, so that is physical manifestations starting from like a day, minutes, hours, days, and months, and then later on it is calculated up to yugas and kalpas like Brahma Kalpa, Padma Kalpa, Shweta Varaha Kalpa, like that. Okay, there is a further. Okay, so that is all about the time factor. So here Vidra wanted to know all those details. Okay, so here, yatata bahurupasya harehi adbhuta karmanah kalakyam lakshanam brahman yata varnayanah prabho. Can I request all devotees kindly recite this shloka behind me? Vidura uvacha
Vidura uvacha
Vidura uvacha
yatata bahurupasya
yathatha
yathatha
bahurupasya
bahurupasya
hareradbhuta karmanah
adbhuta
hareradbhutakarmanah
karmanah
kalakyam lakshanam brahman
alakyam lakshanam
laksham
brahman
lakshanam brahman
yata varnayanah prabho.
yatha varnayanah
varnayanah
prabhu
prabhu
Again, Vidura uvacha
viduruvacha
viduruvacha
yatata bahurupasya
yathatha bahurupasya
bahurupasya
hareradbhuta karmanah
haredadbhuta karmanah
bhutakarmanah
kalakyam lakshanam brahman
alakyam
kalakyam
lakshanam
lakshanam
brahman
brahman
yata varnayanah prabho.
yatha
varnayanah
varnayanah
prabhu
prabhu
Once more. Vidura uvacha
viduruvacha
viduruvacha
yatata bahurupasya
yathatha
yathatha
bahurupasya
bahurupasya
hareradbhuta karmanah
haredadbhuta karmanah
bhutakarmanah
kalakyam lakshanam brahman
alakyam
kalakyam
lakshanam
lakshanam
brahman
brahman
yata varnayanah prabho.
yatha
varnayanah
varnayanah prabhu
prabhu.
Very beautiful. Can I request devotees kindly take a turn to recite? Prabhupada Sachi Mataji, would you like to go first?
Vidura uvacha yatata bahur. Oh, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, is it me?
Yes, Mataji, go on, Mataji.
Yeah. Vidura uvacha yatata bahurupasya hareradbhutakarmanah kalakyam lakshanam brahman yata varnaya nah prabhu. Krishna.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Radha Sekar Mataji.
विदुरुवाच यथा स बहुरूपस्य हरे अद्भुतकर्मणः कालक्यं लक्षणं ब्रह्मान् यथा वर्णाय या प्रभो.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Sanchita Mataji, please.
विदुर उवाच यथात्य बहुरूपस्य हरेरद्भुतकर्मणः कालाख्यं लक्षणं ब्रह्मन् यथा वर्णय न प्रभो. Hare Krishna.
Very beautiful. Thank you, Mataji. Asha Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. Vidura uvacha yadatta bahurubasya harer atpuda karmanah kalakyam lakshanam brahmam yada varnayanah prabho.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Debashish Prabhuji, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Vidura uvacha Jathartha Bahu Rupasya Harer Adbhuta Karmanaha Kalasham Lakshmana Brahman Jathartha Jathartha Brahmana Prabhu.
Okay. Nice. Thank you, Prabhuji. Meena Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. Vidura uvacha yatha atha bahurupasya haraye adbhuta karmaha kalakyam lakshanam brahman yatha varnaya na prabhu.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Usha Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. Vidura uvacha yatha tat bahurupasya hareradbhuta karmanaha kalakyam lakshmanam brahman tavarnaya na prabhu.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Jagriti Dana Mataji, are you available to recite? Okay. Manoj Prabhuji, are you available to recite? Okay, that's fine. Okay, that is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Yatatta bahurupasya hariradbhuta karmanaham kalakyam lakshanam brahman yata varnayana prabho. Okay, Mataji, would you like to read the translation as well? Usha Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu. Vidura inquired from Maitreya, O my lord, O greatly learned sage, kindly describe eternal time, which is another form of the Supreme Lord, the wonderful actor. What are the symptoms of that eternal time? Please describe them to us in detail. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, that is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. We shall move to Srila Prabhupada's daily letter. So today letter to Kirtanananda, February 22nd, 1971. And it is Bombay. Okay, can I request another voluntary devotee to read the letter, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, please.
Mataji wants to read it. Very good.
Oh, yes, Mampi Mataji. Mampi Mataji want to recite the shloka as well, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Sure. Thank you. Vidura uvacha yatatsa bahurupasya harir adbhuta karmana kalakyayam laksanam brahman yatha varnayena prabhu.
Very beautiful. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, going to the letter, please.
My dear Kirtanananda Maharaja, please accept my blessings. I'm in due receipt of your letter dated 12th of January 1971, and I have noted the contents carefully. Just recently, I have written you one letter, and I hope you have received it by now. I'm so much pleased that things are going on nicely there in the centers visited by you. My fervent desire is that you travel in schools and colleges and impress them with our philosophy and try to introduce our books as far as possible. Writing children's stories based on Srimad Bhagavatam is a good idea, but your first business is to move in the schools and colleges and lecture there and introduce the books already published. Not that you should confine yourself to Pittsburgh and New Vrindavan. And to depend on the centers for bus fare is not very good. Sannyasi means that you should depend on Krishna. When Devananda Swami was lecturing in the schools in Boston, he was getting $25 to $75. So why not meet your expenses in that way? So far as eating only 2 chapatis and a little vegetables daily, I never said that. I do not know why such news have spread without my written authority. One should eat as much as he requires. He should not overeat. That is the point. Without eating properly, how can we work? If one can digest them, then he can eat 20 chapatis. But if he cannot digest, then he should not even take 2 chapatis. The Ayurvedic system is to take half of what you can eat only. Fill 1/4 with water and leave 1/4 for air. That will make the proper digestion. Little rice, dal, some vegetables, some chapatis, like that. But eat right to the point to keep health steady. So far as $50 fee for initiations, that same question was raised when you were in LA. I said no then, and it hasn't changed since. Please keep me informed of your activities there. Presently, I'm planning to return to USA by the month of April, hoping this will meet you in good health. Your ever well-wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Srila Prabhupada Jai.
Jai. Thank you, Mataji. Any takeaway points, Mataji, from here?
Yes, Prabhu. So my takeaway points would be from this letter is Srila Prabhupada in this letter is emphasizing the importance, the significance of spreading the Krishna consciousness in the schools and colleges, because it's always recommended to start the process of Krishna consciousness as early as possible in our lifetime. As you can see in this, the same was stated by Prahlad Maharaja in Srimad Bhagavatam to his friends, that it's always advisable to start the process very early in the stage. So Srila Prabhupada here is emphasizing the same point to spread Krishna consciousness in the school and colleges, because in the modern day world, we do have educations, we do have systems for any material educations or Jara Vidya, but we do not have facilities to know the spiritual education or the Vidya, the actual Vidya. So that is one point. And then Srila Prabhupada goes on to say that sannyasi, so that is another point he made in here, that sannyasi means that you should depend on Krishna. Yes. So those who are heavily involved in Krishna, in preaching of Krishna consciousness, in preaching the messages of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and spread it across the world and spread it within everyone. So the sannyasis who are always engaged in preaching, so they always depend on Krishna. And that's why they are fearless, because they have spiritual vision. They know that Krishna is, well, we all know that Krishna is within ourselves, sitting within our heart as Paramatma, but they have spiritual vision. They know that Krishna is there within our heart and Krishna will protect us. And this is why they are fearless. They can go to any forest, they can go to anywhere alone, and they are not fearful at all of anything. So in this context, it just reminds me of one incident that Namacharya Haridas Thakur, he once took shelter in a cave of a hill. And then in that cave, there was a venomous serpent that was residing at that time. And all his followers used to go to see him in that cave. And they said that they suggested Haridas Thakura to leave the cage, because of the fear of the serpent. But then what happened? Krishna as Paramatma, he is residing within the heart of the serpent as well. So even before the followers of Haridas Thakura was present in the cave, the serpent decided to leave the cave. So that shows that Krishna looks after the sannyasis. Krishna looks after the devotees who have firm convictions, who have firm faith that he is situated within our heart and he will protect us. And this is the fundamental, and this is the point that Srila Prabhupada was making here, that sannyasi means you should depend on Krishna. And then the next point is, of course, our daily eating requirement. So Srila Prabhupada has denied that in here that he has never said that 2 chapatis and a little vegetables daily. So maybe, I mean, sometimes we take out or we extract some points and we forget about the context. So Srila Prabhupada has said that he never said it. So what we should only eat according to our bodily requirements, because to look after the health is very, very important. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said that the first foremost importance should be stressed on body, and then first of all is body, and then sadhana, and then seva, because our body is our vehicle for our sadhana. So if the body is not good, we cannot do sadhana, and of course, consequently, we cannot do any seva to the Lord. So we should eat as much as our body requires, not more, not less. And of course, we should be careful not to overeat, because overeating is, of course, detrimental to the body and consequently to our sadhana as well. And Srila Prabhupada here very beautifully divided that we need to take half of what you can eat only, then fill 1/4 with water, and then leave 1/4 for air, which is very, very in line with the modern science and, of course, integrated Ayurveda. So that will make for proper digestion. Little rice dal and some vegetables and some chapatis like that. Okay, and then the next is, so far as I said no, then it hasn't changed. Please keep me informed. Here also in this letter, it is reflected that Srila Prabhupada is very particular about the knowledge of the activities of all centers and of all their devotees. That's it, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So beautifully explained about how a sannyasi can depend on the Lord, okay, and how one has to consume the food for his maintenance. Very beautiful, Mataji. Thank you so much. Okay, any other comments, dear devotees? Okay, so that is the few points. And here the $50 for initiations, it is not a fees. So, but actually, one has to give Guru Dakshina to spiritual master during the initiation time. So he has to beg from everyone, beg alms, and then whatever he has collected, he needs to offer it to the spiritual master. Of course, and as per his desire, he can just please the spiritual master as much as he can. But it is not a fees. It is kind of a there is in the Bhagavad Gita. It is also mentioned that mantrahinam adakshinam. Mantrahinam adakshinam. When we do not give any dakshina to the spiritual master, that mantrahinam, and it will not have the power. When we take something, we give in something in return. Okay, that is the natural thing. That's why when devotee is going for book distribution also, they will ask something in return. So that they will receive the benefit. Okay, so that is one point, and Mataji has explained everything nicely. That is from Srila Prabhupada's letter. And from the announcements point of view, so today, Friday evening, we don't have from our Sangha perspective. Today, there are so many events in the temple, it seems. And Jai Mataji has shared. And evening Japa session at 6:30 p.m. And another thing is the fundraise for our projects. We are now at 937 pounds. Okay, and again, just to historical project is coming to end. That is in another one day, but tomorrow only the last date for it. Okay, if anybody what is are trying to contribute, or if they are impressed with the historical, that is and today is the auspicious day. Okay, I see. And many other devotees are contributing. Thank you so much. Of course, one should not stretch too much. It's not a financial burden as much as he can. That's all. Okay, that's all from the announcement side from me. And dear devotees, if you have got any updates or want to share anything on Krishna consciousness, kindly do so. Otherwise, we shall conclude and continue with Vada Japa. Okay, if there are no updates, we shall conclude and continue with Vada Japa. And again, today, in the Darshanarati Shri Mayapur. So there is very beautiful before Varahadev Bhagwan's, I think it seems, our Western days devotees, they have performed very beautiful Varahadev, and one is Hiranyaksha, that pastimes. Okay, so just I leave it on. Okay, we shall conclude and continue with Vada Japa. पञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंतकोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय शिल प्रभुपाद की जय Have a great Krishna conscious day everyone. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि